What if you could spend an entire month living beside one of Europe's oldest lakes, enjoy restaurant meals for under $10, rent a comfortable apartment with lake views, and experience authentic European culture without the crowds? Well, that's exactly what we discovered during our 5 weeks in Pogradec, Albania. So today we're sharing what it really cost us to live here in Pogradec, what the food was like, what we paid for, housing, and the big question every retiree wants answered: would we actually retire here? So let's find out.
Hi, we're Josh and Petra, early retirees traveling the world slowly while sharing honest insights about retirement and life on the road. Join us and share in the journey.
Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we're on a mission to visit 70 countries by age 70 while showing what slow retirement travel really costs. Rather than rushing through destinations, we slow travel, staying for weeks or months at a time to experience what daily life is actually like in these locations. And after spending 5 weeks in Pogradec, we can confidently say this lakeside city surprised us in the best possible way.
Okay. So before arriving, we had heard of Pogradec from another YouTuber who actually moved there when him and his wife retired, but we had not heard of Pogradec necessarily being described as a retirement destination, although we know somebody who went there to retire. So after visiting there, now we're wondering why more people are not talking about it.
Pogradec sits on the Albanian side of Lake Ohrid, just a few miles from North Macedonia. Our first impression: peaceful, very peaceful. Unlike many European destinations that are crowded with tourists, Pogradec feels authentic.
And this is a city where people actually live. Families gather and walk along the promenade. And then there's an evening stroll that the families and people come out, and they call that Xhiro. I hope I'm saying it right.
Xhiro.
Xhiro. Like I said, along the waterfront. It's absolutely adorable. Friends gather and spend hours in coffee shops. The children play at the parks. Life moves at a slower pace. And so for retirees looking to escape like traffic, the stress, overcrowding, this is really a huge plus. And then there's the lake, the gorgeous lake. And honestly, the scenery alone made us very happy that we came to Pogradec to visit.
But beautiful scenery doesn't necessarily mean affordable living. Here's what we actually spent. Housing was one of the biggest reasons we enjoyed Pogradec. For our 5-week-long stay, we rented a furnished apartment with a full kitchen, living room, fast internet, and easy walking access to the lake. So we paid a total of $832.32 for those 5 weeks.
5 weeks. Now, we lived in 2 different locations.
Yeah, we did live in 2 different locations. The first location was just for a week. We had hoped that we could rent it for the full 5 weeks, but they only allowed for a week at a time. So we found a different location for the remainder of the month.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, so the first week was a little bit more expensive, but the last 4 weeks was much more affordable. And if you can book something for a month or longer, you're going to get a better deal.
Yeah.
But $832 is actually pretty good for
That's still
5
pretty
weeks.
good, yeah. Depending on season and location, visitors can find apartments ranging from roughly $400 to $900 per month. I do want to add a small caveat to that. I think that's probably during the summer months more so than in the winter time. We did hear from different people living there that you could find similar apartments for as low as $150 to $200 a month during the winter months. Our apartment fell comfortably within that range, that comfortable 400 to 900 month range, and offered everything we needed for slow travel.
We liked having a kitchen. We had a kitchen in both apartments, and that allowed us to cook at home when we wanted to. We had extra space, so it kind of felt like a temporary home rather than a hotel room. Mm-hmm. We loved being able, the walkability of the city. It was about a 6-minute walk from our apartments, actually both apartments, to the lake. And most days we simply left the apartment and we would just kind of walk everywhere, wherever we needed to go, the store, the bakery, wherever. We didn't really need a car. And for retirees, that convenience adds a tremendous value.
Mm-hmm. And if you think housing was affordable, wait until you see the food prices. One of our favorite parts of living in Pogradec was the food. Overall, we spent $347.03 on restaurants and $547.52 in the grocery.
Now, we will say the grocery price was a little bit higher than normal because we, and if anybody here is from Pogradec watching us, hello. We asked if our last Saturday there that we could hold a little barbecue at our place. And so we spent money buying extra groceries for that.
Yeah, so I mean, in reality, we probably spent maybe $200 for that party on groceries.
Yeah.
So Albanian cuisine doesn't get nearly enough attention. They use fresh vegetables, locally sourced meats, fish from the lake. We were advised to try that fish from the lake. I ended up not getting any.
We were told that in the summertime, that lake fish in Lake Ohrid actually swims deeper down. And so when they go out in the fishing boats, they don't catch as much. So the price is higher in the summer, but in the wintertime, the fish comes
up to the surface.
So it is more abundant and a little bit cheaper in the winter. So since we were there kind of into the summertime, we didn't necessarily try it.
Yeah.
Okay. But some other things that's amazing is like the fresh bread.
Love the bread.
The generous portions that you get many times.
It's family style, no matter where you go. It's always family style. So you get served for at least two every portion.
And so or at least we were taking home leftovers, which then, we could eat
as lunch
like the next day, right? And you can get meals per person in restaurants between like $5 and $10 US. Mm-hmm. The coffee, like regular coffee, costs less than a couple of dollars. Your fresh produce from the produce markets are incredibly affordable.
It was so low, I really felt like we were stealing from the vendors.
I know.
The fresh vegetables and fruits were just crazy low, inexpensive.
Yeah. I had posted in the community post a picture asking people what they thought we spent on 2 good sized like slicing tomatoes and 2 smaller cucumbers, equivalent all 4 items. So the 2 cucumbers and the 2 tomatoes, it was like 85 cents, equivalent to 85 euros. And we would spend a lot more than that on the tomatoes. Like at the farmer's market in Indianapolis, we were spending $6 a pound on a tomato, We
went when we went and purchased for the party. I don't remember exactly all the ingredients that we purchased, but all of the fresh stuff that we wanted for the party cost us approximately $3.
I know it was
crazy.
Yeah,
and that's why I mean, like you just feel like you're not giving them enough money.
I know, right? Are we ripping you off? No, it's just and it's not like we were going out to fancy dinners. We did have like one night where we got some filet. We had a filet mignon dinner.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit fancy, but just the regular everyday food was so good. And it was these simple meals. And when you're eating by the lake and you're eating your meals, like, it's just magic. It just feels magic. And a lot of times we didn't, because the meals were so reasonable, there are many times that we weren't even watching our budget, because we would, like I said, go and we might spend $12, $13, $14, and that includes a small tip for dinner, and then have that leftovers for lunch the next day. Yeah. So, and that's one of the benefits of traveling in destinations that haven't become overrun with tourism, is that you can really enjoy life without checking your prices.
Yeah. So, of course, food and housing are only part of the equation. What do you actually do here for an entire month? Quite a bit, yes. Quite a bit, as it turns out. We spent on 4 trips. We went to Lynn, Korcha, Tushamisht, and Ohrid. And these are all spots around the lake, except, well, Korcha's not quite, but Lynn, Tushamisht, Ohrid are all on the lake. Lynn cost us approximately $60.78. That included a tour guide and the cab fare.
What's that?
And lunch.
And lunch. And then Korcha was out of town. It was a 45-minute drive by taxi. We were on our own once we were there, but we did have some food. I believe we had breakfast and some coffee, and we did walk around. We did shop and purchase some couple of things. They had a large store there, so I found some hot sauce, which was incredibly difficult to find anywhere else. So I grabbed 2 bottles of hot sauce, and we ended up giving one as a gift, and the other one we left behind for whoever wanted it. That was $80.87 for that trip. Tushamisht, we went to visit a friend at her new apartment on the lake. Tushamisht is a much smaller town. It's more, it has a cute little town center.
It's almost like a little village.
Yes, like a little village. It's very pretty there. Absolutely loved Tushamisht. I'm very glad I went to go see it. That only cost us $15 for the trip. We did go out and eat some lunch, but I think our friend paid for it. I may be wrong.
I can't remember. Well, yeah.
And then for Ohrid, we went and stayed overnight at a hotel. Or no, it was an apartment we rented. The apartment cost us about $100 for the night, which might be a little high for that area, but it was just for the one night. Otherwise, we spent $58.16. We did a tour. We ate multiple meals. Very inexpensive. Ohrid is a gorgeous town too. Absolutely worth visiting. It has a lot of old world beauty and charm, and they have a gorgeous little walking mall. They also have some pearls apparently that are manufactured there
Using the scales of the fish in Lake Ohrid.
Yes.
So
total between the 4 trips was about $314.81.
now transportation to get to these places we did taxi, and I have a special transportation that includes transportation to these places category that we'll talk about at the end when we do a summary. And so we talked a little bit about all of these places, and each of these places, we're just enchanting, I would say. So, whether you're, going to, any one of these locations, or walking through the town, or reading by the lake, or visiting the cafes, talking with residents, these experiences were just so rewarding.
So every destination, unfortunately, also has some drawbacks, and here's what you should know before packing your bags for Pogradec.
So let's talk about the pros and the cons. So we're going to start with the positives or the pros, and I think these are going to, based upon what we've already said, you're going to understand these. Really affordable cost of living, the beautiful lake views. It's a very walkable city. The people are friendly. The food is excellent. It does have a very relaxed lifestyle and minimal tourist crowds. They do get tourists because it is near the mountains and the lake, and it stays cooler there than cities along the Adriatic or the Ionian. So people, even local Albanians, come there to tour or to visit. But it's for a smaller period of time. We've had people tell us July and August. We've had some people say it starts in June into August. Some locals just say just July. So, you can say probably about maybe a month to 6 weeks-ish, I would say, that they do have the tourists, there. And we did experience some of that while we were there. And it didn't feel bad. It didn't feel totally overrun like going to Paris or Rome or something like that.
So I get to do the cons. Pogradec is quiet. It can be very quiet. And if you are somebody who really enjoys nightlife, shopping malls, entertainment, lots of entertainment, you're probably going to become bored with Pogradec. It's a small city. It's not, and it has one of everything, but not that much. It's not like there's a large community for everything. English is spoken in some areas, but not everywhere. My impression was that a lot of people spoke English, but opted not to. It's a second language. They don't really feel the need to speak it.
A few words.
Yeah, they have, they know a few words from school, and that's about it. And they're friendly. I will say, one of the things that we experienced, and it's everywhere you go. When you first get to a place, people kind of look at you like we're not sure what to make of you, who you are, what you're here. You're just here for like a day. And, in a place like Pogradec where they do get a lot of tourism, that happens often where people are just there for a weekend. And so the locals don't really want to invest the time in somebody who's only going to be there in passing. What we found was at places that we went to over a couple of weeks, people started to get much more friendly. They were talkative, smiled, they were speaking to us more. Like just the stores we went to, people at the registers recognized us and they were much more friendly to us. And you could tell that their whole demeanor had changed. So just be prepared for that. And that's everywhere. It's not just in Pogradec, Albania. That is everywhere you go. Healthcare options are a little bit more limited than what you might find in larger cities like Tirana. We did not actually use any of the local healthcare while we were there. So
we meant to.
Yeah, we meant to. We don't really have an example for you. We do know somebody who went, I believe she said she went to Korcha for her healthcare.
Yeah, we were looking at dental work, and we did get from some of the local expats there the name of a good dentist that spoke some pretty good English, and it seemed like the prices that they had told us about seemed really reasonable, like $25 for a cleaning. And I think somebody said there was like a broken tooth that was fixed. I don't know really how it was fixed, but it was like $60. And again, this is not insurance. This is just out of pocket.
Yeah, this is without insurance.
Yeah.
And the one that had assessment from an area outside of, Pogradec, she said that she spent under $100 for her assessment. So that's probably on par for the rest of the country as far as expenses, medical expenses, but we didn't personally get to experience them. Transportation connections can require additional planning. So the bus system exists. It is a bit of a temperamental system in that they don't always stop at all the marked bus stops, and I've heard that when the bus is full, they leave. Once the bus is full, they leave to wherever the next stop is, and they really aren't going to stop until somebody on the bus is getting off or you're getting to that final destination. It is inexpensive. I heard it was very reasonable.
Yeah.
Just a couple of dollars to get to towns nearby. We didn't attempt anything on the bus. The taxi service, the local expats directed us to Taxi Alexei. And he took care of all of our needs while we were there. And his service is more than reasonable. Let's see. But for us, these drawbacks weren't deal breakers. They're important considerations for anyone thinking about spending significant time here, though.
So, would we retire in Pogradec? The answer is maybe. We don't really want to say never or no, because we are just really starting our slow travel retirement plan, and someday we probably will be looking for a place to settle down. And it's been a great first experience, so yeah, maybe we would.
Yeah.
And we do look at that as a positive answer, even though it's not a definite yes or no. But for us, it did check off a lot of boxes, and we think for retirees, it would check a lot of boxes that they would care about as well. The affordable living, the natural beauty, and the safety. There's also walkability, friendly people,
Slower pace of life. For retirees who value simplicity, affordability, and beautiful surroundings, Pogradec deserves serious consideration. Or would we spend several months here every year? Absolutely. Would we return for another extended stay without hesitation?
Absolutely. So we had mentioned that we were going to summarize what our expenses were for Pogradec over the 5 weeks that we were there. Because we didn't list everything when we talked about like food and housing stuff. There were other things. So our housing total for 5 weeks was $832.32. The groceries, we spent $547.52. And like we said, we anticipate that probably would have been a couple $100 less, but we had...
we hosted a party.
Yep. Dining out, we spent $347.03. And then we had a miscellaneous category that we spent $396.26. And that miscellaneous category, when we got to our apartment for the month, it had limited cooking
capacity,
like equipment.
Yes.
And we did ask initially for like a French press or a kettle or something. There was one there, but it was really caked up with the hard
the deposits from the water, because it's hard water. It's drinkable, but it was hard water.
Then we asked for another one, and she got that for us, but that was like on day one. And as we were going through, and we knew coming into this that part of our budget every month might be things that we have to kind of pick up that isn't necessarily provided. And I do think that we could have gotten away with a lot less, but we did have that cookout, and so we had to buy other things.
Yeah. We bought some things that we ended up using just the one time for the party, and then leaving for the expats to have afterwards.
And we felt okay with that.
Yeah. And
then transportation. This is one that we didn't really talk about. The total was $326.93. And this included the taxi ride. So it was things like when we first arrived to Toronto and we're heading to Pogradec. And then we were in Pogradec, but we went to Korcha and Lynn and Tushemest and Ohrid, those things. And then from Pogradec back to Tirana. So, and that drive alone from Tirana to Pogradec is about 2.5 to 3 hours drive. So that total transportation with all of that, and then we had a couple of days where we picked up the taxi just to take us back to our house within the city. And that was, like I said, $326.93. And then our day trips were $314.81. So our total for 5 weeks was $2,764.84, which is less than our monthly budget of $3,000 for 5 weeks. Your calculation?
So my calculation is we spent just under $40 per person per day.
Yeah.
Which is well under the budget.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a party and we went over budget for this party, and we still were well under the 3,000 for the month. This is 2,700 over 5 weeks.
Well, I'm not really sure what you mean by over budget for the party, but we went more than we normally would.
Well, I mean, yeah, we spent more than we normally would have, for that day. But yeah. So we could have absolutely dined out more and eaten, at a steak dinner literally every night if we wanted to. Maybe then we would have gotten closer to the 3,000 for the month. But as it worked out, we didn't really get there.
Yeah. So right now we're staying in Durrës, and here in Durrës we're here for 3 weeks. So if you add that 3 weeks to the 5 weeks, now you're at 8. So we will be reporting on what we spent in our 3 weeks here, and will we spend $3,000 in 3 weeks while we're in Durrës?
We'll have to see.
However, just based upon that, and even knowing that we went over because of a party that we hosted, I mean, $2,700, even if we round up to $2,800 for 5 weeks, that is significantly less than many retirees can spend living in the United States. So we're well within our budget, and I think you can even do it for a lot less, honestly. So retirees can even do it for a lot less.
Mm-hmm. So Pogradec may not be the most famous destination in Europe, but after spending 5 weeks here, we understand why so many visitors fall in love with it. It's got beautiful scenery, affordable living, friendly people, and a pace that reminds you to slow down and enjoy each day. If you visited Albania, let us know your favorite destination in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the posts.